back, viewers. You're watching NewsX and I'm Kriti Mehta. Now, the Ketan Agarwal murder investigation is gathering pace, with Pune Police now seeking court permission to conduct a polygraph test on prime accused Sia Goel as investigations attempt to piece together the alleged conspiracy behind the chilling crime. Police have also sought similar permission for co-accused Ketan Chaudhary while recreating the crime scene and probing claims that the murder was rehearsed before Ketan was allegedly pushed off the cliff at Lohagad fort. Investigators are examining digital evidence recovered, clothing and the sequence of events leading up to the killing as they work to strengthen the case, with the accused's custody set to now expire tomorrow, after which they will once again be presented in court. Now let's take some breaking news updates. Now, main accused Sia Goel has given a consent to the police for undergoing a polygraph test. An accused person's consent is mandatory before a polygraph test can be conducted. Sia's lawyer Vipul said that she has today formally given her consent to the Lonavala Rural Police for the polygraph examination. Shweta is joining us, my colleague, on this. Shweta, did Sia give her consent readily, or did she really have no other option?
This is a part of in fact, which we cannot confirm as of now. But yes, as far as Sia Goel is concerned, has given her consent as far as the polygraphy test is concerned, and this has been in fact informed to a media personnel by Sia Goel's advocate, that is Mr. Dushing. And Vipul Dushing also stated that it is a formal and a lengthy procedure, but as far as the prime alleged accused is concerned, Sia Goel, she has in fact now given her consent to carry the polygraphy test on her, because we have seen earlier also, Kriti, that how the statements of Sia Goel and the co-accused Ketan Chaudhary were not matching. And hence it becomes very important for police to understand that who is actually stating the fact and who is trying to mislead the investigation.
All right, joining us now are also former Karnataka ADGP Sanjay Sahai and Rashmi Samant, human rights activist. Mr. Sahai, I want to come to you first. So much has happened in the case already. 2 times there has been reconstruction of the crime scene, recreation of the sequence of events. Still, it's not yet clear who exactly has killed Ketan. What are the difficulties that are coming in arriving at a conclusive point?
See, the main difficulty is that there are no witnesses. So it is being tried from every single angle so as to prove and put the last bit into the correct legal perspective, where it can be a rock solid case where you connect that this movement and this person made that fall happen. Now that particular part, I think whatever is there in the public domain. Now Ketan has the A2. The second accused is a different story and the first accused is a different story. And they tried this pushing part, which is the recreation. Now from arrest, we have got into recreation of the crime scene. Even the recreation of the crime scene in a topology of that manner, generally nothing much comes out of it. And if you go by Pune Police, lots of things they have done pretty right. But when they did the recreation part, I think they have even left those dummies out there itself. Might be they have not come to any conclusive evidence. Now the second part is the gate analysis. Now you have the accused number 2. So this Ketan Chaudhary. So this guy, he moves and his hoodie and all that is all known to all of us. Now with that hoodie, you are not able to make out who this person is. Though there are enough and sufficient evidence on the digital side, also on the movement side, where you are basically been reaching to that particular place. But there is something called a gait analysis, which means the way you walk. So they are trying to do a gait analysis also of Ketan Chaudhary, and that gait analysis will conclusively prove that he was the person who went through that entry and reached to whichever place. And beyond that, might be there is not sufficient evidence to prove the next stage. Now, added to this, they are getting into the lie detector test. Now, lie detector says might not be very conclusive, but we presume that the contradiction, it's primarily the contradiction which you play on the lie detector test. If the contradictions come out, then it will be nearly clear as to they're trying to lie. But even if they're trying to lie, at that particular point in time, whether you are able to elicit the truth, that becomes very important. Most important in this whole case is that both A1 and A2, which means Sia and Chetan, whatever evidence they give, whatever confessions they make, that is not admissible in the court of law. So these are the broad challenges which police is facing in this investigation. If they are able to create the case from the beginning till the end, where the last component, even if it is slightly inconclusive, is sufficient enough beyond reasonable doubt
Yeah.
that this offense has been committed by these two people, going on the meticulous planning, movement, drill, exercise, trying it, and all sorts of other things which are already in the public domain. This can turn out to be a challenging case where we need good prosecution lawyers who will battle it out and prove it that this is the way it happened. Very recent that the other case which happened in Meghalaya last year, there's a wrong section which was written which is non-existent in PNS, and on that account the accused got paid. So let's be very, very cautious about the whole thing and work in a pure scientific manner so that the substantive evidence gives complete support to the circumstantial evidence and reaching a point where there will be absolutely no conclusion but for these two people pushing it off, because in Indian jurisprudence you have to prove everything beyond reasonable doubt. And most of the times, this reasonable doubt turns out to be unreasonable doubt.
Right, absolutely. Stay on, let's take some more breaking updates that we have got. Viewers, now Sia's father Praveen Goel has said that the police had come to the house but he did not meet anyone, and he said that they did their work and were there for around 30-45 minutes. He also said that the doctor has advised him to take rest until his health is better. All right, Rashmi, I want to come to you also now. We've seen like how Mr. Sahib was also pointing out, even in this case, Meghalaya case, Sonam Raghuvanshi has gotten bail. Bail has also been upheld now by the High Court. Are there doubts that Sia will also be out on bail in no time when she's held?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on this debate. I think the nuances of judiciary is something that varies case by case. Like Sir here mentioned, I mean, how the prosecutor argues it also determines what the outcome of the case will be, and in each case the amount of evidence that is available is also very unique. I think unfortunately or fortunately in our society, how things work is that you need to be able to prove a crime a certain way. With I think evolving trends in media, in social media, and the way the world is changing, I definitely do believe that we need to amend our laws to keep up with the newer sort of crimes that are coming up. Not just cases like that of Sia or that happened in the past, which was quite similar to this, but also many cases that happen on the digital frontiers. So it's necessary for for us to keep up with these things, and I do hope that such cases not only bring justice to the aggrieved, but also that they set up new precedent in the ways that such evolving modern crimes can be dealt with. I do hope that it does not end up in becoming another case where
Why do
bails
you
are
see
granted.
these crimes as different from the crimes that we've always kept reporting? What's the difference here?
Well, I think, see, back in the day, if crimes had to be, planned, people would write letters to each other. There would be a lot of forensic evidence that would come with such kind of, exchanges happening. Now it is all digital. Things are more
Is it so,
evolved in
Mr.
that
Sai? Is
sense.
that so?
Sorry, I didn't catch your question.
Yeah, no, I was asking Mr. Sahai if he also feels
Yeah,
that.
so I would beg to differ
Yeah,
because what is happening today, that the digital footprint and the
is
nature of the
greater than
digital
ever. It's in
footprint
fact making
plus
things easier.
plus no
Yeah.
no no. If you find a pattern, if you find a narrative,
Hmm.
it will give you a much more conclusive narrative, which is substantiated by unimpeachable evidence, and that is what the evidence which has been gathered in this case, and that was a similar evidence to a considerable degree, which was in Sonam case also regarding movements and variety of things. Now,
Hmm.
Sonam case, let me be very clear. It has been a very flimsy and unimaginable sort of mistake where you're writing section 403 instead of section 103. And I would not go out of the way to comment on the judiciary, but let me tell you that once the trial is on, and if there is a typographical or error of this nature, when the whole content, narrative, substantiation goes to a murder case and what is written is some 403, which means absolutely nothing wrong is being done. It is a mistake. So anyway, I'm not getting into that part of it. But suffice to say
Hmm.
that at current day and age, it is much simpler with the capability of technology
Yeah.
and domain expertise
Hmm.
of a police officer who is a thoroughbred investigator to reach conclusions if we can imaginatively use all that hard coded evidence which happens in the normal course of events. Earlier, we tried to build up also variety of evidences because nothing used to be there by way of statements, by way of variety of things. Now all those things are available. In this, the challenge is only the last point, and I think it is a manageable challenge. It is a surmountable challenge. It
Hmm.
should not happen that because of legal expertise not being provided
Hmm.
at the level of what is required,
Hmm.
that we fail.
Okay.
See, even that Sonam's case, who there will be some prosecutor who has validated that charge sheet. No, otherwise charge sheet cannot be filed.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take some more breaking updates now on this. Viewers, now Lonavala police have said that the two arrested accused, Sonam and Chetan, are currently being interrogated. Police said that they are being questioned at the Pune Rural SP's office. Earlier today, Sia was taken to her home and to the location where she had planned and rehearsed the execution of the crime. According to the police, currently their statements do not match, which is why they are being interrogated at the Rural SP's office in Pune. Police custody of both accused ends tomorrow and the police will produce them in court once again. Let's in fact take another breaking and then I'll come to the guests. Now we have also picked up that as the probe of course continues, the family of co-accused Chetan Chaudhary has reportedly vacated their home and shut their grocery shop, allegedly fearing the public backlash after the crime got highlighted. Run by Chetan's father Babulal Sirvi in Pune's market yard area, locals say the shop has remained closed since June 25 when the case came to light. Mr. Sahai, now a polygraph test will also be conducted on Sia Goel. She has given her consent. Do you think it's going to help in the investigation sufficiently?
I think it will certainly help because lots of contradictions will come out, and if the scientist concerned, because that is the basically expertise
Hmm.
of a domain expert who is the investigator who will support the scientist, and the scientist who will actually do that particular test.
Hmm.
So I think it will be able to provide us certainly some clues into the nature and validation of the investigation done so far, primarily from the point of view of what transpired in the last moments
Hmm.
till reaching this particular Lohagad fort, and all that is pretty clear. Now, what is not clear is at that particular spot who pushed her and in which manner and who was where. Certainly, they have given narratives to the police, which is duly recorded. There is absolutely no denying that fact. So, that particular statement They would have video recorded also. Is though confessions cannot be used as evidence in Indian courts of law, because any evidence which is self-incriminating is not admissible. Nonetheless, between the statements taken, interrogation done, and video footages and variety of other things which is available with the police, and the way your polygraph test will happen and what it will, because that is also a narration. It is also a conversation. Now, between the two, I think my personal feeling is it will certainly add one or two more steps towards reaching what we call as beyond reasonable doubt.
Right, okay. Uh, Rashmi, once again, how do you see complications being resolved in the case, and whether in this case the absence of witnesses is proving to be, contradictory to what the police are trying to establish? How do you think that Lohagad Fort in Pune is such a, it's a UNESCO site, attracts huge crowd, and that particular moment when Ketan was pushed to death, nobody has seen. What do you make of the way this entire murder has been planned?
Well, definitely, the murder brought out the worst in humanity, and there's no denying that. The limited point I'd like to continue making is that despite the nature of evidence that we're able to gather today, unfortunately, our judiciary has not kept up with evolving times. Nuances of the judiciary have always allowed a lot of criminals to obtain bail on the certain premise that there are no witnesses available or so on and so forth. Proper digital footprint of presence, of intent, of planning, of blueprints, etc. And the same thing happened in Sonam's case as well, and other crimes that we've seen in the past. We've seen killings recorded on camera and uploaded on the internet. But even then, people have managed to somehow obtain bail. And I think that is something that, that's a reckoning of our judicial system. Although, commenting on the judiciary in many ways can qualify to be, you can't comment on sub judice cases, etc. But I think we need to take a hard look at how our judiciary has been acting and why we haven't been able to give justice in cases where the worst of humanity has cropped up. We've done justice in many cases. Where there have been very powerful perpetrators. For instance, a sitting member of parliament was sentenced to life for a very heinous crime. So the judiciary has worked multiple times, but I think it's one system that's never allowed to fail, but it has, and that's something we need to introspect. And as community, we need to step up. The police have always done an exceptional job when it comes to proving crimes. I feel like the judiciary also needs to step up in these cases and pick up the baton.
Okay. Okay, we are now in fact picking up some more details in the case. Let's break those. After taking accused Sia Goel to her residence as part of the investigation, police team remained at the house for over 30 minutes examining key aspects of the case and carrying out further investigation related to the incident. Rashmi, another important matter in this case is how Sia had been fearing, confiding in her family that she did not want to marry Ketan, and she kept on telling her family that she was interested in marrying him, while she had told Ketan that she was not interested in marrying him. Is there a concern in your head about how society functions, how Indian households are communicating with their young ones?
Well, I mean, I definitely do believe that parents have to be more open to their children's opinions, ideas, and sense of freedom. But at the same time, that does not give the right to the people to commit crimes. In no way, whatever her family did with her justifies her committing a crime. She clearly was all over social media enjoying the attention that her fiance was giving her and all of the gifts, and she was clearly manipulating him to, get money out of him, giving it to her fiance, to her lover, etc. So I mean, you cannot justify a criminal mind with excuses about family traditions or limitations. Nothing stopped her from running away with her lover and marrying him. She wanted she wanted to have the cake and eat it too. Basically, she wanted the riches that her family brought in. She wanted the money that her fiance gave her, and she wanted to be with her lover. You can't have it all, and there's no justification to a criminal mind. I'm sure the polygraphic tests, the various investigations that the police will conclude will definitely point to the fact that the criminal mind is an unbalanced one, and I mean, none of us can truly justify it, and we do need to lock up these individuals and these essences, because nothing really justifies what she did.
All right, let's break other details as well. Police have in fact inspected the hill area opposite the cafe from where CCTV visuals of Sia and Chetan plotting the murder had emerged. As part of the investigation into the Ketan Agarwal case, a spot panchnama was conducted to examine key aspects of the incident. Mr. Sahai, finally, before we wrap up this discussion, how important are all these little details in establishing the sequence of events leading to the crime?
I think granular details which are indicative of the overall narrative of conception, planning, rehearsal, engagement, thought process, meeting, all those are equally very, very important. You see, in an investigation, you cannot miss out in the flimsiest of points, because the weakest point, that weakest link will be the strongest failure, and the case will end in nowhere. All these things are important. All I'm trying to say is that there is enough and sufficient digital evidence which needs to be pieced together in a manner inclusive of the polygraph test, that it is stitched completely where we cross that threshold of beyond reasonable doubt. And in case there is some 0.1, 0.2, 0.5% things left, is the legal acumen of our prosecutor which should sail through. There will be enough and sufficient court rulings which will be indicating to the same. Now it is purely the expertise, that very finesse which a good investigative agency should have, and the finesse with a legal eagle should be put together, because that one little gap is there. How much and how well it will be sorted out, I hope and pray that it will be sorted out. We have the capabilities, both with the Pune Police and with the prosecutors. And I think Mr. Nikam has been appointed or is being appointed as the prosecutor in the case.
Yeah.
He has done laurels to lot many cases in Mumbai and might be at other places. So we just, I'm convinced of the fact that we'll be able to put up a very neat case.
All right, let's wrap up for now. Thank you very much, Rashmi and Mr. Sahai, for joining us on this discussion. And viewers, time for a very quick break. Stay tuned.